The two types of brushes that most oil painters use are hog's hair bristle, which looks like this, and sable or mimic sable, which is this one. The mimic sable will usually have a darker color to the bristles, and the hog's hair will have a lighter color. The hog's hair bristle brush is especially good for laying in color. It's good for working outdoors. It's a stiff brush that will retain the color in the brush, and its edges are somewhat sharp if you need to do a line. And the sable brush is particularly good when you want to do what I'm going to call soft work. If you want to be blending wet into wet or smoothing out your edges, it's just a softer bristle brush. Brushes come in different shapes. The first is a round, and I particularly like to use that when I'm doing a round object, like a bowl or a vase, and I want to get a really good blending. Then we have a flat. I don't use flats too often, but a lot of artists do. The flat is flat across the top, and all of these come in different sizes, but this is one of the larger sizes. This is called a bright. I use this occasionally when I want to have a spot of color, but I don't use it too often. The ones I use the most are filberts, which are these two. Filberts have a round, they're flat in shape, but they have a rounded end. And last, you will find fan brushes, which come in only a few sizes. They're very good for blending the edges with the background, just general fine-tuning blending. The object I'm holding out is what I call a scraper. It's actually used for pottery, but it's been used more and more. It's a way to actually erase the paint. You just remove it with this little end. You can also use the other end if you want to do remove something in a very fine place. Or sometimes I use this to sign my name. If you're a beginner painter, I would recommend that you have at least 5 brushes for starters. This would allow you to experiment and see which ones you prefer. So I would suggest that you have a filbert in hog bristle larger. I think that's probably a 6. A hog bristle that's about a 4 or even a 2. A sable or mimic sable that's larger, which I think this is a 6, and then a small one. I believe this one's a 4. Then I recommend a large brush, which could be sable, mimic sable, or hog bristle, which will allow you to experiment and work in large brush, work in your backgrounds, etc.